if we kind of look forward to the kind of the vision around, I know you guys also look at how can organizations, programmatic advertising, the vision platform itself, etc. Are they, I guess, and it's a double kind of sided question, I guess, because there's AI here, and then there's obviously how we utilize machine learning, predictive analysis as part of that. I always say to people, remember that they're kind of like two. I know the same family and they're all brothers and sisters, but they are different, right? One likes football, one likes baseball, but they all kind of love the sport, right? So how are you, outside of just having Brion, how are you guys looking at that from a, supporting customers from a, how do they utilize their data to make better data-driven decisions? Just kind of talk us through some of those things.
Yeah, that's great. So the best application is when new customers come to Recruitics, they have the ability to get a health starting point rather than a guess and check method.
Yeah.
So many times we set a goal and we're like, well, I guess this is it. Our machine learning that's happening on the back end is saying, hey, for these job titles in this market, here's where you start.
Yeah.
And that may be higher or lower than the client's expectation. Like that's a bit of a learning process because, clients have sort of their historic, understanding. And so sometimes that's a conversation, but it gives us a strong starting point. And we basically let the data tell us where to start. So that's the first point is it gives us a really healthy starting point. From there, then we start to see, well, how does it actually convert in that client's instance? Because this, everybody on the call knows this, like your conversion rate on your ATS, your application process, you live and die by it. So like if it's 2%, look, it's 2% and we can't make it 5%, right?
Yeah.
By the way, we're gonna have some exciting product announcements later in the year to try and make it 5%. But we've got to take in that data and now say, okay, here was our starting point, but now we've got your conversion rate that's either above average or below average, and so then that starts to get filtered into that kind of programmatic algorithm to say like, okay, here's where we started. Now we're overachieving, underachieving based on that conversion rate, and that kind of cycle starts again.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to the beginning, right? So, you've been in this game for a long, long time, and all of a sudden there's Brion, there's data, all that type of stuff. How would you summarize the impact around the AI development and the tools being used now to compare to probably when simply hired as you're starting off with Recruitics and all that type of stuff? It must be immense.
It's been such a change. I think the confluence of all of these AI tools now has highlighted what engineers have been trying to kind of build in the background in these, more complicated systems for years. So it's Simply Hired back in when this was just Simply Hired, Indeed, and Juju. That was like sort of the three programmatic players. That was all just, we were just putting jobs on a list and seeing what happened.
Yeah.
I think as things have progressed, we started to see in the background some of these, these data automation maybe is kind of the early signs of this.
Mm-hmm.
And then we started going like, okay, well, that worked over there. Let's put that now in our programmatic, suite of solutions.
Yeah.
Wait a second, what if we also applied that to some of our paid search, as it relates to Google and Bing? And it's come through now to the front end. So now you can see it because we've got a bot that you can talk to.
Yeah.
And it's starting to put insights into the hands of customers, and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I think that's really exciting. So we've talked a lot about the kind of the top of the funnel piece. If we want to kind of try and imagine what it looks like on the other side, right? So how do you think AI is going to impact, because there's ATSs out there that are basically saying, look, we've got, we're introducing AI. Like we talked to a client the other day and they're like, oh, well, if you guys are doing that, our AI, our ATS has got a bunch of AI features, right? And I'm like, oh, wow, interesting. Okay. But can you explain them to me? And they're like, oh, I don't really know.
Yeah, it's AI,
It's AI, right? So everyone's just using it. Yeah, it's AI as a word, right? So, just kind of, I know that it's a space that we, both of us look into, but we don't necessarily kind of dive deep into that. But there is an impact between what we're doing here to drive, though, as you said,
Yeah.
conversion rates or whatever it is what it is, right? But we're doing
Yeah.
our best to kind of help you improve those as best as we can. How are you, how do you see AI kind of really impacting or kind of transforming in a good or bad way or indifferently the kind of the post application point, right? So I always look, my passion is I want them to click and go, I'm applying, right? And then I'm like thinking, yes, they're matched, they're great, they're ticking all those boxes. Everything else, I'm like, hey, come on, you got to be good at this now, right?
Yeah, exactly.
As I say to everyone, we're like the Tom Brady, right? We're making the play, right? Now your job is to take it home now, please.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
how do you kind of see that side of the
So I think, as I think about customers having, I mean, they're getting more savvy around these tools that are available. I think the ATSs that you and I know, they hold a lot of power in this, in this relationship. They are deeply embedded into the tech stack. You can see the adoption of Workday and Oracle recruitment. I mean, like they are deeply embedded. And to me, I think customers are going to start demanding that those like AI tools start becoming really native
yeah,
in those ATS suites so that, you and I, we fill the top of their funnel with the folks that they need. And then those folks are in that system ready to be nurtured and communicated and, you know, shared information about that company, tell the story. Like, can we connect them to the right role? And I think the ATS, I'm not judging all ATSs, but like that has not been their focus is like, how do we make this great for all these candidates that have gone through the process, signed up, made their account, put their stuff in. And I think to me, I think customers are going to start demanding like, hey, I need more tools in here to activate all of these candidates I've paid for, across multiple, tools and solutions. And I think that, that makes it better for the employer, that doesn't have to keep reinvesting to get more and more and more and refresh candidates that are already in their platform. Consistent challenge that our customers are like, I want to pay for new candidates, not
yeah,
candidates they
yeah,
already have.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
think the
yeah. I
ATS has a
connected
big
those.
part to
Yeah.
play.
Yeah. So if you could think of one, I, I want to use one AI-led or enabled
Mm,
feature or tool that will help that part of the process. What do you think would be that key thing? Because I think I look at Brian and I go, that for me that's the that is a
yeah.
magic for an organization from this side of understanding, okay, how much is it going to cost me? Then there's obviously, where does that spend look like? What do I need to invest in? And all that type of stuff. And as I said, we've done all the stuff. But when you look on the other side,
Yeah.
if you're there, you're kind of like, hey, Johnathan, what do you reckon that one thing would be?
Yeah. So I think we can learn a lot from what we've seen on the candidate side where AI chatbots have gotten really good.
Mm.
And, there's a few leading the pack there. Um, I think that is the tool that if an ATS user, most of the times a recruiter, inside their ATS can have a chat experience to target a few candidates, turn that into a CRM nurture email, highlight those software engineers in San Francisco. Right now, everything is still platform based.
Yeah.
I was on another webinar this week with another provider that's introducing their next level, CRM, and it's still like you're clicking buttons, you're like making selections. Again, the even these are still good innovations, but like having a bot that's, that just says like, hey, I need all the software developer talent we've got in the system. Okay, you've got 3,000. Okay, that's too many. Let me focus on what about these types of skills? What this experience level? you're down to a list of 28, and then you go talk to those 28. Like, to me, that is a feature I'd love to see in an ATS.
Yeah, yeah. And that would make our job a lot easier as well, right? Because it's
Yeah.
like, because I always find that, when you fit, clients have all this, sometimes they have all that talent within their database. Yes,
Yep.
they absolutely want to get fresh talent, but they also, for me, is that benchmarking between what do we have today, in our talent pool, and what do we need for tomorrow, right? And where do we find those kind of skills, and how do those skills kind of match us all together?
Yeah.
What excites you about the future of AI in talent acquisition, right? Because, me and you, as I said, I keep on using that. We've been through this journey, right? And no
Yeah.
one talked about AI 3 years ago, and it's
Yeah,
like,
that's
yeah,
right.
it's there now.
Yeah.
It's ingrained in everything we do. But what excites you about it?
I think the way I've really been thinking about this is I think AI is going to enable us to really do the valuable human work where, where you need that, human perception, connection, kind of rationalization, reasoning. And
Mm.
I think AI has the ability to like eliminate almost everything that you would call admin type work, scheduling, picking through, sorting through. And then you get to that, like, okay, here's what I need to do today.
Yeah,
And like AI has served up essentially the items that you can kind of apply your expertise and your kind of experience, passion, knowledge, etc. So
yeah,
I think like eliminating all of the admin kind of check the box work, I think that's like what excites me the most is I can apply my skills, my experience, and not have to schedule, whatever meeting or that's all going to be done for us.
yeah, yeah. So last question before we got a couple of questions, or one question definitely coming in. And please, everybody, if you've got any questions, just put them in the chat. I'm more than happy to answer those. Um, this is coming from the recruiter's head, right? Do you think, and do you see, AI ever replacing, the recruiter, the talent acquisition specialist?
No, I don't. I think it fulfills several parts of the recruiter's job that I don't think they like.
Yeah.
It's like it's some of that work that's just monotonous and it's the back and forth and it's like you're almost to the final step and then they say, well, wait, what are the benefits? It's like the AI will tell you about all the benefits. It's like that kind of stuff. But that deep connection of saying like, hey, here's what we heard, tell me about this. Let me make sure I understand, or what are you really looking for? What's your, that like all that connection work that recruiters do, it just can't be replaced.
Yeah.
Like even the audio, the Chat GPT audio, if you played with that, their new, GPT Pro, it's like it's incredible.
Yeah.
But like it can't do that human synthesis that
Yeah.
makes the incredible recruit. I'm sure you were an incredible recruiter. I'm thinking of a couple of incredible rock star recruiters.
Mm.
That's where they thrive, is that human connection, that human reasoning that brings the best candidate for the role right to the top.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, the whole thing that I loved about the recruitment process and the hiring process, and that was whether I was doing executive level, whether it's graduate or in-house, external, was actually that part when it comes to actually connecting to the individual. So I've done the background research. I'm happy with what I've seen about what they've done, how they've done it, what they've achieved, and then it's just that conversation of understanding, well, how did you do that? What is it about this, that excites you and all that type of stuff? And in the back of your mind, you're thinking about that organization, you're thinking about the team they're going to be part of. But if you can eliminate all that and just give me 10 conversations like that a day, I probably would have carried on being a recruiter, right?
Yeah,
And trying
yeah.
to change how the process works at the front part. So yeah, no, thank you for that. That's great. So we've got a couple of questions quickly. So we've got one here that's come in and kind of gone. Can you explain what Brion AI does and how recruitment teams can benefit from it?
Yeah, sure. So, Brion AI is really your conversational kind of data analyst within the Recruitics Vision platform. What it does, I mean, you can talk to it just like for if you've used ChatGPT, and it has access to all of the data related to what that recruitment team's actually working on. So, budgets, applications, CPAs, location data, how many jobs do I have in this category? What are my historic CPAs? And where we've seen recruitment teams start to use it, obviously the internal team at Recruitics has loved kind of, digging it around, but we've seen Recruitics teams start to understand budget opportunity. So where could I spend more if I had it to get good outcomes? We've seen them start to analyze sources just as, obviously there's tons of changes in the marketplace all the time around where active talent is. And lastly, just get to those really detailed questions. So like this hiring manager is just harassing me around this, kind of high potential role. How is this job performing, and what can we do to get more? So those are a couple of areas that we're seeing recruitment teams use, Brian.
And I think that's the key part. When we talk to clients and all the conversations we're having, a lot of discussions are around that part. That it's really, really hard. There's a lot of, as much as everyone says that, the talent pool market is squeezed because of, when there's changing birth rates and all that type of stuff and availability of talent. It's still a major thing, right? It's like, how do I absolutely go about finding this talent? And I guess we come down to the diversity question as well. So I'm just going to lead on to that one as well. Like for me, I always have this debate with clients, and I'm like, well, what do you mean that, how do we improve diversity from a recruiter's perspective? And I've gone, it's not necessary. It's absolutely identifying and understanding where those target groups are that you want to engage with, but it's actually, how do I take that opportunity to the right channel where I'm going to get the best levels of engagement, rather than just kind of going, hey, I'm just going to kind of spray and hope that it happens, so I can go back to my bosses and say, hey, great, we spent $1 million, right, on just everything we could possibly think about, and quite haven't hit our numbers yet. This is something that could be quite exciting to go and say, actually, if you spend it here, you're going to get more what you're looking for. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think that's it's a multi-layered kind of approach, because you do have to spend your money to get candidates, and you also have to put yourself in places where you can, really hire or attract a diverse audience. So it's like step one, step two, step three. It's not just just go. It's like a little bit more multi-layered than that, multifaceted.
Yeah, that's exciting. So the last one is, do you see AI improving real candidate engagement?
I think, I think AI can help us solve the problem we've never been able to solve, which is the black hole.
Yeah.
So that candidate black hole that it just drags me down every time I think about this. And I think candidates are just so happy to get any connection, even if it's an AI bot. I think now I don't have data to back this up, so I'm kind of going on a limb here, but I think when candidates start getting some engagement, whether that's, kind of an automated text and AI has a little bit of a text conversation back with you, I think they're feeling great about getting some engagement. And to me, I think at this point, I'd say that can only bring real candidate engagement up.
Yeah. And I think, when I think about it if I wear my recruiter hat, just also having that, because I always say to everybody, all the best recruiters, we literally want to talk to every single person who's applied, because believe it or not, I'm always looking at it going, hey, that'd be great. I know but they're not, it's not matching what I'm looking for. And I'm trying to work it out, but I've got 2,000, question, kind of CVs to go through and responses to make. And if I did that all day, I'll never fill the quota of roles I've got to fill, right? So I think it's a double-edged exciting development that will happen, where there's all of a sudden there's a way of which we can get this to engage with our candidates, but also at the same time, support the recruiters to do the parts that they kind of enjoy the most and stuff like that. But yeah, I think we've got one more. They're flying in now. Can Brion AI help me stay updated on upcoming trends in the recruitment industry?
Good question. So this will be probably the next iteration. We think we'll have benchmarking, and in the US, we're going to have the job openings and layoff statistics embedded soon. So that will start to help our customers understand, what's a good outcome as it relates to CPA, that like not just my data, but all kind of the global world of Recruitics data. And then also we're bringing in these like government data stats to kind of emphasize or point you into, what was the word they used? The upcoming trends. Like, here's what we're seeing in terms of job openings. We're bringing in the Canada version of that as well next. So yes, that's what we're building towards. So that really, I'd love a world in which Vision and Brion together are valuable for any customer that, even if they're not using Recruitics for their media, right, and some of their programmatic, resources, but they can get in here and make, kind of learn from the trend. So that's really where we're building towards, but more to come there as 2024 progresses.
No, I'm excited about that, and I think that's the key part, right? I said, I've always said to summarize it, for me, recruitment is always about the art and the science, right? And
Yep.
the art is always about, that ability for the recruiting teams, the talent acquisition teams to be able to connect with the talent pool that's in those roles, those top 5, those top 10, those top 100, wherever it is for the roles that we're hiring. The science is what we're trying to develop here, right? Is that how do we really refine and define each and every single stage? Because all those type of things are really hard when you set up to go, we want to hire these number of roles in our organization. It's like, where do we start? How much is that going to cost us? When are they going to come on board? What are they going to look like? And because that kind of impacts how you plan from a workforce planning perspective, your CFO, and also how you manage the hiring managers as well, right? So that, you can kind of say to them, as you said, this is what we're doing. This is how good it is. This is how bad it is, but we're dealing with it in that basis. No, I thank you very much for that, Johnathan. And if you were to give, I'm just going to leave you with one more. I think we have another question. They're flying in. Right. What would you say the challenges that come with using AI for recruitment? Oh, I know.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think we still have a lot to learn with, some of the bias that's built into these. And I don't just mean some of the prejudicial pieces of it, but just like, did we make it too direct? Did we not give it enough nuance around topics that are kind of tricky? I think we've still got a lot to figure out there. So that would be the one that, still kind of concerns me. And then these hallucinations still pop up. I mean, across all the platforms. We've seen Brion, make
For a
up some
while.
stuff. So it's like, yeah, it's like, I think that's in recruitment when this is a people business. So like those tricky topics, there's some things that I think is still a challenge we got to overcome.
Yeah, and I kind of back what you're saying because there's I think it's out in the public domain how Amazon basically looked at how they could basically build a tool that would help them hire more diverse talent across the board, etc. And what they found is as the data went in, the algorithm basically or the AI tool basically taught itself that it actually became more biased. And the whole ethos behind that is I always say to everyone is look, it's the quality of data. And that data quality comes from, as you said, how much of the topics and the breadth of the topics and the nuances and all that type of stuff do you feed into it in order for you to come up with that? Because if it's only looking at one single lane of data, it's only going to produce one single lane of
That's right.
applications of candidate profiles, etc. So yeah, I think it's going to be an exciting space to see how that comes together. So I think we got one more. I think there's one more. I saw someone. Okay. Can Brion AI help us with our employer value proposition outcome? Oh,
Oh, interesting. That's not an area we've really explored yet with Brion. I like thinking through that. Um, we've still taken really a deep, interview based kind of approach to really get this EVP like Titan for our customers.
mm,
It can do some of the activation analysis. So once you set that live, you turn that into a messaging architecture and actually set some of that employer brand messaging live. It can do some of the measurement of like how was that received, what did we see, but that's an interesting use case we haven't really deployed yet.
but you're starting it, right? I think that
That's
I
right.
think I was looking at it this way, right? There's a sanity and vanity piece really quickly, right? I think when you look at marketing teams and when they're building up the employer kind of brand and all that type of stuff, there's that vanity that goes, "Hey, look how popular! Look at the data! Look at all the hits we're hitting! How great is that? How
Yeah.
amazing is that?" And then there's the kind of the sanity piece comes from the talent teams who are going to say, "Hey, yeah, that's great, but let's just look at what we're getting through as kind of that quality piece." So maybe there is already that sort of work that Brion is doing already and kind of plays a big part between, as we said, separating sanity and vanity and making sure that those two things everyone's achieving what they want, right? The talent
Yeah,
teams, recruitment teams, they just want the best people. They want the right talent in the right roles at the right time. And, marketing want to get the brands out there. And that's cool. We have that debate internally ourselves.
that's well said.
Yeah, there you go. Listen, thank you very, very much. Apologies for the glitch at the beginning. I'm really excited to kind of see what the future of AI looks like already. And I'm really excited to see what you guys are going to be doing for the rest of the year. And I know that it's a development hotbed right now. So many things coming into play. So
Oh, yeah.
no, thank you very much, Johnathan. I really appreciate it and can't wait to catch up.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks so much. It's been wonderful to chat with you, and yeah, good
Cool.
stuff.
No worries. Thank you very much. Thank everybody for being on board. Hopefully you found it really interesting. If you've got any questions, you can always just follow us up on the Recruitics LinkedIn page, and definitely on the FutureMatch LinkedIn page before my marketing team tell me off for missing that very valuable point. But yeah, we'll definitely catch up. If there's any questions, I'll share those with you. Thanks for John. Cheers, man. Thank you. Bye. Bye.